Hello, everyone. Happy Monday, the 16th of June. I am Shawn White, and this is the Claus Connect. And we are going to give our audience just a little bit of time to join on. Hello, Santa Allen. Hello, Bill. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Sal. We're going to have a great show tonight. Santa Tom is such a good guy. Hello, Oliver. And we'll see how many more we get on here. I was on TikTok earlier and had almost 200 people really quick. So hopefully this is a good night for social media. Here we go. Wow. Hello, Betsy. Paul. Hello, Troy. Thank you for joining us. I would like to thank Angela, our producer, for all the hard work she does. Keeps me in line and keeps it all going, and man, do I appreciate it. Hello, Tammy. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to just give it a little bit of time here. I hope everyone's had a nice day. And now you can just sit back and listen to a nice conversation and hopefully add some comments in here, and we'll get some good conversation with the audience too. Hello, Mike. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk to Santa Tom Smith. He is big in social media. He's on all kinds of social media, YouTube. I was on his show a few weeks ago, and he does a great job interviewing. It was a very comfortable place and very enjoyable conversation. He's all about being open, honest, good guy, and it comes through with what he's doing. He does give some great advice and clips, short clips with very nice things he says and get you thinking, and I know I appreciate it. Hello, Bubba. Hello, there's Santa Allen. Thank you. It was fun. I couldn't wait to get you on here. So right now, while we're adding on more people, we're going to run some pictures. This is kind of what I like to do on this show. I'm really seeing that this works nicely to show who he is, kind of stuff that he does. He does perform as Santa, and I will let him tell you all about that. And he has a lot of connections with beard products too, so we'll also let him talk about that. So right now, Angela, if you'd run the video, we'd appreciate it. Wonderful pictures. Kind of gives a glimpse of his family, his career, job, hobbies, interests, visually. And part of the show, the Claus Connect, is I like to get to know our guests too at the beginning of each show to find out who they really are. You see them online or you see them in classes or wherever, but you really don't know who they are, where they come from. So this is part of the Claus Connect. So with that, right now, I would like to introduce my friend, Santa Tom Smith.
Hey, Sean, how's everybody doing?
Beautiful pictures.
Yeah, it's always funny when somebody else is showing your pictures. It's different.
Yeah, I know when you're just handing them over, and oh boy, I know, I can only imagine.
Right.
Real quick, let's say hi to Jenny. She's in Minnesota. And Don. Hello, Don. Thanks for joining us. And John. And he says he's melting in the heat. Uh-oh. It's starting to get warm in Michigan, so I think we're headed that way too. So, okay, Santa Tom, would you give us a little introduction about who you are, what you do, so we know?
Well, I am retired, semi-retired. I don't think I'll ever be retired, but I am semi-retired from the prison system here in Texas. And I started dabbling around, and I've always wanted to be a Santa Claus. Now, I've seen so much hurt and violence in my lifetime from being in the military, then transitioning over into the prison system that, you know, if I didn't do something positive with my life, I would have went just absolutely crazy, right? So I always, since I was a kid and seeing the Santas outside the stores ringing the bell, the Salvation Army Santas, there was always that part of me that wanted to be a Santa Claus. So I work part-time now for a trucking company. I'm just a transportation supervisor. I work in an office. But for the most part, I look forward to doing content. I do Christmas videos year round. How there's so many people that just subscribe and watch my stuff, it still amazes me to this day. It's very, very humbling. But I do Christmas videos, Christmas history videos, Santa videos, mental health videos. I also do beard product reviews on my YouTube channel. You know, when people get on there and they say, you know, you should stick to one niche, right? I think I'm saying that right. Niche. I can never get that right. But when you stick to one niche, you know, that's okay. But I don't want to be boxed into one thing. I want to talk about what I want to talk about, right? So I just started doing things on everything. There was some photos in there of the, and if I get talking too much, Sean, you got to kind of pull my.
That's okay. Just keep going.
So, there were some photos in there of like the Renaissance Festival. I'm really, as I said, I'm really big into the history of Santa Claus. Love the whole Father Christmas, the old British Father Christmas. So I enjoy dressing up that. And that's my one time of the year. My brother and I have been going to the Texas Renaissance Festival since 1977. Wow. So I enjoy going out there and it gives me a chance to talk to people because the kids want to come up, you know, and it's funny because they don't see the green suit or that, you know, they see Santa Claus, right? And they want to come up and talk. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to sit down right where I was and let talk to the child and let them tell me what they wanted for Christmas. But that's my time to kind of let loose. That is right before the Christmas season, right? It's in November. They have Celtic Christmas out at the Renaissance Festival. So that kind of gets me primed up to get ready for all of the events that I've got coming up by that point. So that's why my beard's a little longer right now. I'm trying to hold off as long as I can and for that event, and then go ahead and get me a good trim. Because as you and I have talked before, there's a fine line between Santa Claus and a wizard, right? Yes. So yeah, but have a good time. The social media thing's been fun. It's kind of scary. It's fun, but it's kind of scary how much social media and the whole AI thing and all that has all of a sudden become a huge thing. But I think it's a good tool as well. I think your show, just people that use Santa Ed Taylor, the people that use these social media platforms as a launching pad, I think it's very important. And I believe it's a way for us to get what we are trying to promote out there. I'm fairly new in the Santa community. Where I was getting with all of that before, when I was talking was, I've only been a Santa for about 5 years. I would say professional Santa Claus, maybe 3 years, where I've actually been getting paid to do what I've been doing, and just having a blast. So there's a lot I have to learn still. And any advice I would take, I know I've asked Sean for advice. I asked, people in the community for advice. I do not pretend to know everything. I'm still learning, as I'm sure there's people out there like Santa Ed that talks about he's still learning every day and been doing it for decades, right?
That's right.
But just good advice is something I really enjoy getting, and constructive criticism. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, look, have you thought about doing this?" I don't mind. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Now, I have gotten some advice to where, advice is an opinion is exactly that. It's an opinion, right? So if somebody comes up and says, "You can't do that," well, why not? And I won't go into all that, but there's great advice that's been given in the community, and I love it. My big passion for the last few years on social media has been beard products and keeping my beard healthy, because I am one that firmly believes that keeping your beard healthy is just as much as an investment as your Santa suit, your boots, or anything that you invest in as a professional Santa Claus.
You know what? I don't as much. I'm around it a lot and at all these schools and stuff. And yeah, they talk about it, but they don't say it like that. And I do think an emphasis needs to go on grooming, and then the whole thing for men, not just their outfits. So that needs to be a message out there more, even because there's so many good products and everything that can be used to help. So, okay, getting back to you, do you have a Mrs. Claus, or do you
I do.
You do?
Well, I do. My wife, Candace, is my Mrs. Claus. Now, she has worked with me 1 year. Now,
okay.
She ran into some health issues, but she's gotten past all that. It was a good year. So this year, we're hoping that she can get back in it with me, and I'm really looking forward to it, because it just adds so much to the experience, right? And so I'm really looking forward to it this year. Her health has really, really improved a lot this year, so we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
So how many years have you been on social media then? Like, when did you?
About 7 years. But really, for the last 2 years, I would say I've been getting involved in the beard content for the last 2 years. I was doing like truck driving videos and things like that before, which didn't do very good. I may have had 40 subscribers, right? But then when I started doing the beard product reviews, I jumped up some. When I started doing the Santa videos, or the Christmas videos, the Christmas did you know type facts and history type stuff, last Christmas, I think I went from I'm talking about within a matter of a month, went from about 500 subscribers to about 42,000. It just jumped. It almost worried me, because I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought, did I break something? But it was during that time, and I always laugh and tell people in the bearded community, if you think my videos have skyrocketed, or my subscribers have skyrocketed because of beard content review, no. It was during Christmas time this last year, and it just really, and it's very humbling. I don't get on TikTok a lot. I have seen some of your stuff on there. I don't get on there a lot. I do post on there. I'll post some videos, but I don't know. I just haven't really gotten into the whole TikTok thing.
I have the best luck, and it's kind of crazy that I'll do stupid stuff just to warm up for other things I'm doing. But if I I take a car ride in my car and video it and put rock and roll with it, oh my gosh, hundreds of people. It's crazy every time.
Well, you're playing this for the show at the beginning of or at the end of this last week, and it was, I think, "Don't Stop Believing." I mean, that's great, And so why does it have to be the traditional, "Here comes Santa Claus"? Or nothing wrong with that, but it just adds that extra,
it gets attention, and I know probably some are like, "Oh my gosh, turn that music off," but it gets attention, and when it gets closer to Christmas, I'll start putting more Christmassy stuff on. But come on,
Sure.
let's not wear it out here so I like rock and roll, and that's just who I am. So that's my personality coming out in my videos too. And
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think Kirk Douglas kind of made it kind of cool, didn't he? Am I saying that right? Is it Kirk Douglas? Who was in the Christmas Chronicles? Is that Kirk Douglas?
Oh, no.
No. Who am I thinking of?
Somebody will tell us on here.
I'm horrible, guys. Yeah, I do good to remember he's married to Goldie Hawn. How could I forget that? But I do good to remember my 4 children's names. So there you go.
I'm not much better. So, okay, let's say hello to Lincoln Crum.
Hey, Santa Lincoln.
You probably know him yet. Scott's on here. Saratine. Patrick from Houston. We love Patrick. Linda.
Right up the road.
And Terry's on here from Stay Bearded. Hello, Terry. Terry's in Montana, I think. John, Troy, I've said hi to everyone here. Larry, hello. Ron McLam, hello. Kelly Mitchell, hello. Thanks for joining us.
And Larry, I watched that show, the Stay Bearded show, and as many products, and I've tried and reviewed so many products. I can honestly say and I'm embarrassed to say, I don't think I've ever tried Stay Bearded, and I need to. That's one of the things that's been on my list to do is get some Stay Bearded products. But just the awareness that you are bringing out, having a beard product company owner on your show, absolutely fantastic. I think it is so important. People ask me all the time, do I really need to spend money on beard products? Do I need beard products? Let's even take the equation away of spending money. Do I need beard products to grow a beard? Absolutely not. But you do need good quality beard products to grow a healthy beard, right? You show me a person that uses absolutely nothing, and I'll show you a face full of split ends, maybe not so good smelling beard, Yeah. But if there's 2 things I always suggest people with a beard get is a good daily beard wash, not shampoo, a beard wash, and a good quality beard oil. You can make your own beard oil. Yeah. That's why I do the show on Saturdays. I'm always trying to promote and cross that bridge or gap that bridge in between the bearded community and the Santa community. And I'm really involved in the bearded community and would love to see the 2 come together because they need each other. It's a match made in heaven, right?
Yes.
And people just do need to understand. And I just put out a video. It's on YouTube. I put out a video on the link between mental health and beard grooming. And I used to always laugh at my wife. She'd spend so much time, not laugh at her, but she would spend so much time in there. But the more you take care of your beard and you groom your beard, it's therapeutic. Right. It gives you something kind of look forward to. You want it to look nice. You want it to smell good. So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent there.
I totally understand that because doing my hair for my whole life, that's time. I don't like to be bothered. Everybody get away from me. It's like meditation time when I do my hair. So kind of the same. The one thing, okay, I admire you. Not just like your whole social media, everything you're doing, you're authentic. You've got a great voice. I admire all of that. Wow. And that's why you're on my show, because I really do look at the whole person before I invite them on here. And I want to believe in who my guests are. Now with Stay Bearded, it wasn't just beard products, because of course I don't have a beard. I don't even have a husband with a beard. But I watched his business plan and what he did with his advertising, and I work at the markets that he works at, so I saw the business part of it, and I admired that. So I just want to throw that out into the universe that there's a whole big picture with things, and with all of this, like you're saying. So, okay, let's move on to like I said, being authentic is big for Mrs. Claus Vintage here, and everything I do is Sean. And I love your mental health clips that you do on that type of stuff. It's so good for everybody to hear. Let's see if we have a really good question on here. let's just go into your Santa stuff a little bit. I think it's time for that.
Sure.
Um, do you have things set up already this year? Are you working on, or how's it going for that?
I do. I have a couple things set up already. Typically, and I don't know how it is for everybody else, but typically the photo shoots start first, right? Because a lot of these photography studios want to get their, the pictures done around in November. I've had them as early as October. I don't know. Surprisingly, haven't got anything for Christmas in July yet, but I haven't really been promoting that a lot this year. Just coming out of Candace's, my wife's, medical stuff, just haven't put a lot of push into it. I'm going to start getting it rolling, but yes, do have events lined up, but photo shoots as of right now, and have had a couple. I think a couple gig saddled leads for December. I think there's 2 of them already in December.
Okay. I personally am starting in October, Mrs. Claus Vintage here with some projects. So it's getting a little bit crazy in my life. Usually last year it started beginning of November, and now it's pushed itself back again. So I need time for Halloween, I can't, the total opposite. But you know how you said you warm up in the Renaissance?
Yes.
Or I do at Halloween, and dresses the Victorian witch and back from the day and all that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome. I saw you post something about that, and it made me think of one of the stories that I talk about quite a bit is La Befana.
Yes.
So that's really neat. I love the history aspect of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be going a little bit deeper with her this year. That's my goal. So if there's time and everything works out, it's going to be pretty fantastic. Okay, so when you just tell me about being Santa, what's you have outfits, how is it? What type of appearances do you like to do? Because with me, I like the big stuff. I like the big venues, the markets, all that type of stuff. How about you?
I love the more people, the merrier, the better. Now I've done them to where I've showed up to homes and there's 1 or 2 children there, right? In fact, I think I had one event on Christmas Day last year, and it was for a family. It was fairly large. I mean, there was 4 or 5 kids, and it was a lot of fun. I think I did one Catch Santa Sleeping last year. I only did one, and that was really neat. But I love the larger venues, right? I've got probably too loud, but I've got a booming voice. So I enjoy getting in there and just letting it rip, right? And just having a good time. It gives me an opportunity to kind of express. And I've never had any, just put it out there like you, Sean, I've never had any formal training. I just enjoy showing off. And I think that helps as a Santa Claus. And not for the attention on me, because once you put that suit on, you're somebody else, right? I'm not Tom Smith anymore. I'm Santa Claus.
Right.
So I get a chance to be out there to represent somebody with a beard that's only second, maybe in popularity with a bearded gentleman, maybe than Jesus, right? So, it's your opportunity to get out there and show the world what Christmas is all about. So I love, to answer your question, I love the big events. I'm not so, and I don't know, I hope I don't get any negative feedback on this. I don't really like I'm not too fond, and I'm finding this out more and more, of like the adult parties. I've done a couple of those that are, like in where it's a drinking atmosphere. Nothing wrong with it. If anybody drinks, I'm not, criticizing anything. But where people are just getting sloshed and you're the Santa Claus, all of a sudden you kind of become just a place where they're just having fun for their own fun, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, but if it's a big event with a bunch of children, that's what I love the most.
Wonderful. So during these big events, are you just talking to the children, or do you have props that you bring with you, or what do you use? Anything?
Well, the most I've used so far, and I mentioned this, I don't think you got on the show this last week, but we did talk about props a little bit. But the only thing I've really been bringing so far is some books, and I've got some magic books, things like that. but I really haven't got into the prop side of it. I would like to, and I'm looking more into doing that. But something that you said, I'm kind of a jump in feet first type person, right? We talked about this one time on the show, right? So when I first started, I went out and bought about $8,000 worth of suits, right? And just without really even knowing what I should get and doing my research. And some good advice that you gave is do your research first, right? I live in East Texas. I live 40 miles north of Houston, Texas. So right now, today it was like 92 degrees outside when I was out mowing, and it felt like 685% humidity. I don't know what humidity was, but that's what it felt like. Wow. So even in December, it can still get warm. I mean, we've seen it up in the 70s and 80s even in December. So a big parade coat and all of that going out there and all that fur, sometimes it doesn't jive. So I wish I would have done my research a little bit more. And that's why you'll see me a lot in a Coca-Cola suit, not as much fur. It's a little cooler, a little more user-friendly. So as far as props, though, mainly just books as of right now. But I would like to start getting more into the, right at the beginning of my Santa career, somebody told me I wanted to get something like the magic finger, the glowing finger, and I wanted to get some cool little things. And I had somebody tell me that Santa wasn't a magician, or Santa's not a wizard or something like that, and I said, okay, well, that nixed all of the props that go with that, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, a few years later, I'm thinking, what's the harm of having fun and showing children that maybe there is some magic in Christmas, right? But I may be off on that. They may not be a good subject to talk about on this show.
So what I would think with what you're saying is, I would think when I was a child, what would I have thought with this? And that's my perspective personally. And that's how I go with what I use basically, and kind of disregard everything else because,
Absolutely.
But I agree. Let's get back to the point. And Betsy, my friend Betsy is on here. I think we talk about this all the time. When you first get into this, it's so exciting. You're so excited to be the entertainer, and you buy everything in sight to use it, not really knowing how you're going to use it. So you spend a bunch of money, and I think it takes time and it takes different experiences to build who you are and working on your character. And you do find that you don't need a lot of that. But
right.
We're gonna go to a break right now, and then we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna pull out some props, and hopefully you have a little bit with you maybe, and we'll talk about them. Or I've got some right here too. So Angela, if you could run our commercials real quick. We're all Boots has some great boots. I cannot wait to talk to them. I say this every time, but I'm going to see them in Branson and make a deal, I hope.
That is so cool. I mean, the commercials and everything looks so professional.
Yeah, they're very cool. So I will share with you what I use. How about that today?
Sounds great.
Okay. I know the other day I pulled this out because I read somewhere that somebody was looking for Santa bag. And if you know anybody that can sew, This is really easy to do. It's just something I put together, and I'm not the best seamstress, but I was able to do this. And I carry things. Usually I use it to collect mail. And like when I'm at the bakery and stuff, and the kids put their letters in it so I can take it back to Santa. So, okay, question before I pull anything out. Where did your character from Santa come from? What type of Santa are you? Where'd you get that?
Okay. And this I hope this makes sense. And I know I've told you this before, but everybody remembers the movie Smokey and the Bandit. And Sally Fields asked Burt Reynolds a question in that movie. And she asked him, "What do you do?" And he says, "I show off." Well, somebody made a comment to me that you just need to go out there and just give everything you have. So the only thing that came to my mind is my first event. I was so nervous. I sat there. I tried to come up with some kind of cool accent, I wanted to come up with like a little British accent or something. But I'm going to tell you something. East Texas accent and British accent just don't mix, right? So that didn't work out. I was trying to come up on the fly. So I get out there and just show off. Right, I showed off, and when I say that, I don't want people to think of this, egotistical kind of mentality. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just going out there, having fun, just being loud, you're taking everything that Santa Ed teaches everybody. Put the hands up, be as big as life. And so, I guess if you're asking what I modeled it out after, I guess probably I'd have to say Santa Ed Taylor, because that's all that's how I learned all of my information from at the very beginning was binge watching everything on the Worldwide Santa Claus Network. I hope that answers it.
No, that's a good. See, with myself, it kind of developed over time, but I realized that it was my great grandmother, and I've said this, probably said on your show. I said it lots of places, but she had the bun and she had the apron, and she was born in 1893. I lived with her in high school. I mean, she was what Mrs. Claus would be, and she was motherly in the whole thing. That in the 1970s movie cartoon, I love that show as a child so much.
Yes.
So reflecting back, there you go. That was what is in my mind. And what I tell children about Santa is that Santa is the best husband in the whole world, and he loves all the children, and I love him so much. And isn't he amazing? And I go on, and that's what I really think as a child and as an adult, believing in Santa. So that's my whole picture of that. So I want to show you some stuff that I use. Okay, I'm a big fan, and I know this isn't for everybody because I don't know Santas, but for me, when I'm sitting with children, usually I take these to when there's only a few children at a time that I'm with, or they'll be changing in and out. Golden Books, and I know that Mike had some on talking about them on Tuesday Night Live today. There's a reason these have been around for years.
Right.
The pictures in these, they're old-fashioned, yes. But boy, do they lead for stories for the children. You don't even have to read them. You open them up, and the children go, "Oh my gosh, that's where Santa lives." And their little tiny fingers are pointing. And it is the sweetest thing. And it actually has Mrs. Claus, so I can show children for this one. So, Golden Books, big fan. Depends on where I'm going, of course. Some people, I'm not sure. I think we have some people who might have seen this. Mrs. Claus has bells, and it depends where I'm at. I've got antique. My cousin in Texas down there made these for me. And they're nice. Not
Yes.
super loud. She put the ribbon in it for me. And these I usually have in my pocket. And usually I use them when I'm walking around at Children's Wonderland because I'll be by myself, but they can kind of hear me. Or when Santa and I they can hear us before they see us. So we always try to create the magic. This is something that has been a hit the last few years from the reindeer farm. Reindeer hair. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It's actually, that's what it is. Comes in little packages. And I put it in this because when I'm with the children, I'll ask them, have you ever touched a reindeer? And a lot of them haven't, of course.
Right.
And I'll say, do you want to? And I'll open it up. Usually I'll have somebody be in charge. The naughtiest child in the crowd will usually be my helper. And I have them so they can stick their finger in here and touch it. So this is super cool.
That is cool.
The adults will walk out of they'll be standing around. They'll walk up so they can touch it too. It's crazy every time that happens. And this is the other, an antler, the actual piece from the reindeer farm. And this is nice because it can't be broken and they can just hold it and whatever. So let me go back a little bit backwards off of the props here. A few years ago, I worked with Jeff Wirtz in Ohio quite a bit, in Michigan and Ohio. I started a scrapbook, and I don't know if you've seen this, Tom. I took pictures that are real pictures of reindeer and all kinds of stories. But see, there's real pictures of Jeff and I in this one. So when we get to the reindeer page, then I can ask him, have you ever touched a reindeer? And I reach down and I pull this out. So it goes with the pictures. Everything makes it come alive. So
that is neat.
Those are big props. Of Chris, for Mrs. Claus, I have to lock Santa out of the cookie jar or the cookie cabinet. So I know there's pictures I've taken with this. And I don't know what it is about this antique key. It stays cold. I don't know why. It's science or something. But usually when I hand it to the children, I'll say, touch it. It feels cold like this, the North Pole, in their little eyes. And they pass it around. So old skeleton key. It looks way better than buying something off of Amazon.
Right.
You know, even if you're putting them on your belt. Do you have keys for your belt, by the way?
I do. I have the magic key. Yeah.
Fabulous. And then only really one other thing I really want to show that I came up with last year. I bought this at Bronner's in Midland. It's an ornament. And I don't know why I bought it, but I thought to touch and to hold, it can't be broken. So if I let children hold it, well, when you have children walk up to you and they're kind of anxious or have something going on with them, there's a few of them do you want to hold this? And they held it the whole time and it calmed them right down. And it's just textured, you know, to get something like this is really invaluable to keep in your stash.
Okay.
So, and then I have bells, big bells, and my cards I always have with me. Oh, and like little things like this. I have a polar bear in the North Pole. We made this whole story up a couple years ago. And then I'll say, do you want to touch a polar bear? And nobody ever questions these things that I do, but I pull it out, they touch it, and they feel like they've touched a polar bear. So it works. So those are some of my most prized things that I wanted to share with you. The scrapbooks are the biggest thing, though. And
that's a good idea.
I tell the children that, I started off with, do you want to see what Santa and I have been up to this year? We've had all kinds of adventures, and they're all over it. But the problem is every year I have to change it up and put more in here. So there you go. Let's go over to this questions and see if there's anything from anybody here. Let's see. We have some comments. I know Betsy had one on here. Santa Ellen says these stay bearded products are awesome. just got some after he was on the show. Okay, there's somebody else. Ron McLam, he does commercials and things. October is great for looking for appearances in local business commercials. And I'm actually going to be doing one of those. That's what I'm working on in October.
I have, I've done a few commercials, but they've been with beer product companies as Santa. And so I haven't done any kind of local type commercials, but they've been for beer product companies.
Nick Casey says, come to Kringle Brothers show on Wednesday. He'll be breaking out Santa's magical toolbox. That's wonderful. Because right now you need to start thinking about, I know it's early, but if you're going on trips or going anywhere, just start thinking about stories and props that might go with them. Betsy says it takes time. Focusing on building the character is important first, always. Wilmer, hello from San Antonio. Hello. Oh, crap. Let's see. Sal uses props through most of my show and put a story behind it. Take Steve Gilman's class when it is offered. He is a master storyteller. They are such good people. There's Scott's here. Sorry he's late. Stephen, hello, Santa Steve from Columbia, South Carolina. Earl says, any advice for the first year Santa? And this Betsy says, these props are child-centered and wonderful. The focus stays on keeping the magic alive. Yes. So, advice for the first year Santa Tom, what would you tell him?
Probably the best advice I've heard so far, and I've heard a lot of good ones, because usually when you ask that on a Santa community, and nothing wrong with it, but the number one answer you're going to get is have fun, right? And that's great advice, and absolutely you should have fun. But realistically, your first event, you're going to go in, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be, oh my God, I don't want to mess nothing up, I don't want to, besmirch the name of Santa Claus, Probably some of the best advice I've gotten so far to date has been from Sean, and that is exactly what she's talking about now, is do your research, right? Find out what you want to do. Really talk to my biggest problem was when I first started is I didn't talk to the customer, I'll say, the person booking the event, right? I didn't really dive into, okay, what is it exactly what you want? How long do you want it for? Because if they want it for 4 hours and it's a kid's birthday party, do you really want for 4 hours? Or, could we do everything about an hour and a half? Because the problem is, it's about the first hour, you're Santa, it's great. And then you're kind of just, you're there, right? So, really getting to know, and Santa Ed really brought that advice out. But I would say, definitely the biggest advice is what Sean had given out is really do your research. Do your research on your outfit, what you want to wear, your costume, your outfit, your suit, whatever you want to call it, right? Your boots, and not necessarily do what I did and just jump out and just buy the most expensive stuff out there, because that doesn't necessarily equate to the best product out there or the best suit or what have you out there, right? So anyway, yeah. I hope that helps.
I would say also read everything you can read, every kind of book that you can pick up, any old books, children's books, just read them and get all the information in your brain, because you're going to have more answers that way for the children.
I love this, what Matt says.
What does he? Go ahead. You can read it if you want.
It says, as an elf, I have a mic that has a couple of settings, one that makes you sound like an elf. I asked the little children, how much Christmas spirit do you have? And when they sound like an elf, it brings a smile to their face. That is really, really neat.
Yes. What? I keep messing it up here. Okay. Sal says, know what type of Santa you want to be. Mall Santa, performance-based Santa, Santa for photography. True. The other thing is, I would say, listen. Just be a good listener. Children, everybody in the world wants to just be heard. And that's coming from my politician background. I learned that real fast. Shut your mouth and listen. And it's going to make them happy. And it's going to give you magical moments by doing that, because you're going to hear what this child needs to say to you, and you're going to feel that a lot of the times. And that's why we do this. So,
well, let me ask you this, because what I've noticed is when my Mrs. Claus is with me, there is a lot more of that, because she tends to focus on more of the listening, and hey, she'll nudge me, hey, and kind of, give me a little bit of insight of what's going on. Hey, this child over here, he's a little scared, I'm gonna go talk to him. And so I think that's because I'm, like you said, I tend to get more caught up in the moment and the big picture, I put them blinders on and kind of just see the whole room instead of focusing on maybe something that could be potentially important.
And that's where Mrs. Claus or an elf or somebody is such a big help, because I can help Jeff so much with that. And because it lets you 100% focus on whoever's in front of you. But if you don't see Granny that's sitting there in the wheelchair and she's super old, and you can see that maybe she needs a little love from Santa, everybody's ignoring her or whatever. We've had this happen. He walked over to her after I gave him the little look, and he knew. And by the time he talked to her, we both had tears in our eyes, because she needed to see Santa. And I just had a feeling. Man. So that's why working with somebody is it's so valuable. I can't even tell you.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a lot of stuff on here now. Tammy, I need to see it. Where we find them. Where can we find them? What? Okay.
I think they're talking about that microphone.
Oh, okay. I know I've seen Doug has that, I think. That's on Tuesday Night Live, and Doug from Indiana has a microphone or something on his phone. Has a couple settings. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe he'll put it on here. Oh, we found it at a flea market.
Ron makes a good point, and there's great advice that's going to come out, but also there's so many resources out there now. There's the Worldwide Santa Claus Network. There's shows like this. There's the Kringles Show. There's all these shows on right now that people can get on and learn so much through the internet. YouTube, it just has so much, and you got to filter through a lot of it, but there's so much information on YouTube. I know Santa Ed started putting a lot more on YouTube. I'm not but I put a lot of history type stuff, and I'm gonna tell you what's really helped me out is doing those Christmas history videos. It's helped me out when those kids get in your lap with that iPhone, and they're all of a sudden, here comes the questions. And they think they're going to get you, but and so it helps to have that little bit of knowledge on that as well.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, for sure. The other thing I would suggest is I call it a support group. I don't know if it is a support group. Have a few of your. There's probably I have one support group, and then I have another. And these people we are so close and helpful to each other, and throwing ideas off of each other. And I know of some other groups. Actually, I had Mary on my show a few weeks ago. She has a group of ladies that they do this. These little micro groups are very important too. And during the season, if you all have a group text going during the season to get you all through what you need to figure out, it helps so much. But with the creativity, I can't say enough about that too, because it really helps. If you're stuck on something, they help you come up with a story or what kind of event. Okay, Don, he's got an Arctic fox stuffed animal to try out for this year. Yay! Did you get a puppet? I hope. That's awesome. Starting out is building your North Pole. Yeah. And the other thing Sal said, the most important thing starting out building your North Pole, and get your Mrs. Claus or whoever's working with you on board to know the answers also, because the kids will try to trick you. We all know that. But like I can work with Jeff and I know what his answers are going to be. He knows what my answers. We know the beginning and the ends of all our stories. And the kids eat it up. So do the parents. Okay, let's see what. Nick Casey has, along with my magical toolbox, I have some dollhouse items, some of which are literally miniature toys in their packaging that look like little, new My Little Pony mesh. I love that. Shows children's elf items. I
like that because my wife is really big into those miniature, the dollhouse things. That is neat.
John has a regional meetup. I know they do that. I don't know if he's in Canada with Mike. I know they've got a really good group up there, but other places do too, of course. When you don't have little ears around to listen. So Alan's on here from Australia. Hello, Alan. Hi from down under. Great show. I believe to do your best, Santa, either slow down and listen or speed up depending on your customer visitors. If it is a sensory child with attention problems, you may need to tone down the lighting, true, and music a little, not to scare them. Be adaptable to your circumstance, for sure. That's why I have the things so the child can hold them. And that's why I'm going to try the puppet this year also to bridge. Okay, Bob put on here a microphone with a voice changer. I'm going to show you something too I have. Speaking of little, this is what the elf always leaves in my bag. Because, Santa drinks the Coke, so does the elves at the North Pole. And darn it, they keep putting them in my bag thinking I'm going to be drinking Coke. So this is my little miniature that I have. And it usually gets giggles when I pull it out.
I love that.
So your mind should be going all the time about things to use for props. So on a personal note, tell me, is there any memories that you have or something with a child that happened that just heartfelt that you remember always? Any moments that you'd like to share with us?
Sure, absolutely. Everybody's got their funny stories. Everybody's got their, sweating bullets moments. But this last year, as a matter of fact, I was doing an event at the Sam Houston statue, which is in Huntsville, Texas. And it's a big statue. It's a monument to Sam Houston, General Sam Houston. And I was inside, and this lady came in, and this little girl was, and forgive me, I don't know the name of the disability, but basically she was there, but she wasn't, right. I mean, she was in a wheelchair, she couldn't move. So the family asked if they would mind if, and I hope I can talk about this without crying, because I don't really like crying on camera, but they asked if they would mind if I took pictures. Well, of course, I stopped everything I was doing, went and sat in a chair. They picked her up, brought her over, and I mean, she could move, right? So I held her in my arms, and I don't know if she's normally able to, but she just started smiling so big, and I was crying so much that I had to I was holding her for about 20 minutes because I kept trying to stop crying so they could take their pictures with me. Right. And that hit me more, I think, because I've had some kids come up and, they've asked, you ask them what they want for Christmas and the things, I want my mommy and daddy back together and things like that. Those, of course, those are a punch in the gut.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know, just the smile that came on her face was probably the most moving thing that's happened to me probably since I would equate it to, maybe my children being born. I don't know what else to kind of put that in the books with. But it really, those types of things make you realize when it's the end of the season, because this was right at the end of right before Christmas, and you're tired and you just cannot wait to just dry clean your suit and be done for the year, and say, man, I could go another. It just makes me I could go another 6 months, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're Santa. Santa loves all the children.
that's right.
And all the children, and that little girl, no matter what she looked like or what she could control or do, she knew you were Santa. So that is so awesome of a story. That makes me want to cry. Yeah, that's very sweet. So I guess I will talk about something that still bothers me that I had happen in Ohio. I had two little children. I was by myself for some reason. We had a lull. There was nobody around me. I was working by myself. Santa's at the other end of the venue. And I had these two small children come up, and they were kind of hyper. And I was tired, like you just said. It was a long day, hours. And I could see the older sister or whatever was standing afar and wasn't coming over. It's probably 8 years old or so. And I talked to these two, and they were excited and telling me about Christmas and what they wanted and stuff. But I could sense something was wrong. So I motioned for the little girl to come over to me. And she finally did. And she came running at me and buried her face in my chest, crying. And it's where you just stop and you go, oh, please, please give me strength to know what to do and what to say on this one. And I comforted her, and she ended up telling me that she didn't know where they would be for Christmas. And she was with her grandparents. And I could tell the grandparents the man wasn't happy, and he was yelling at him and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the deal was. But the little girl, like, she just hugged me and wanted, and I my words to her that came to me to tell her was to just, be positive. And I couldn't promise her anything because I could see it was a disaster. But that was at the end of my season.
Yeah.
And all I could do was just tell her to love her siblings and love each other, and they would get through this, and things would get better. And Santa and Mrs. Claus will always love you. And yeah, that still bothers me for this. I don't know what happened or anything. So we have a lot that we carry with us through all these things that we do. So that's why I spend so much time on my homework too, just as you do, and to be authentic and to help, Okay, let's liven it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
What is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Yeah, I think that this would fall into the Christmas tradition, but the whole, since I was a kid, opening up the present the night before, right? Christmas Eve. We still do that. We do that with our grandkids now. And I know that probably doesn't blow it out of the water, but that's just something that we've done since I was a kid, and able to carry it on to my kids and now on my grandkids, and just something that's special for us.
Awesome. Okay. Do you like, what kind of cookies? Best favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. Okay. For Christmas, chocolate chip too? Or none of the?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Chocolate chip year round.
Okay. You know what I always tell children, because if the parents are listening, that Santa likes lots of sprinkles, lots and lots of sprinkles. And the moms are always like, oh, great. Thanks, Mrs. Claus. Okay, what are your favorite songs during Christmas? Is there any certain song?
Probably anything but Mariah Carey.
For real.
Some of the music that's just overplayed. No, I really like the old Nat King Cole. I love that, the older, and I say older, I'm kind of talking more. Well, I guess Nat King Cole is probably even before our time, but just the older nostalgic type music.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. So, one wish for you that you would have for the Claus community. What wish would you send?
Well, to be honest with you, what I see is I see a lot of community, a lot of community spirit, but I also see a lot of competition sometimes where there probably shouldn't need to be, if that makes sense, competition. And whereas in like the bearded community, it's a lot more of that community. There's not that competition like you see on that side. And I think that's why I'm really trying to bring the two together is hopefully, I just really wish, even around this local area, there's a lot of Santas, but there's so much work to go around, and there's not enough Santas, to be honest with you.
Wow.
But I think that if that makes sense, I don't know, and I don't want to step on toes either on your show, but just to where everybody would it just wasn't such a competitive market, if that makes sense.
And I like that, because that's why I personally would like to, I've already diversified into the bearded community as me, Mrs. Claus, but to make some connections too, because I believe what you're saying, it's a good thing. And
you're already a rock star over there. People talk about you all the time.
It's so funny. So funny. Well, I it's a fun place to be,
Where we need to have you on. Now, we had you on my Santa show on Saturday, but we need to have you on the Thursday night show, and it's the Trace Amigos talk show. I have two other guys that I'm on with, and it is for the beard community. Now, we did have Santa Lincoln Crum on there, and he was a hit. I mean, they loved him because it's just something different, but they would absolutely love you. The community would love you.
Anytime. I would love to. I've watched that show too. And Betsy on here watched it with me. We loved it because it's so nice. It's so friendly and just enjoyable to listen to.
Well, it's just like this show right here. It's basically the same exact thing, just kind of in a different avenue,
Yeah. Not a Christmas tree behind you, probably. So we are at 8:00. Can you believe that? Let's see what's going on up here. Matt Cheever, I think is how you say it. I was offered the chair years ago. I can't grow a full beard to save my life, and it would kill me if I ruined a child's imagination if they pulled a fake beard off. There's some good beards you can get now, though, that are fake, but they look real for sure. Santa Jeb, excellent questions following the North Pole Radio podcast questions at the end, like your additional questions for your guests. Okay. Got my vote. Santa Allen. Scott, looking forward to meeting you at CWH in October. And yes, I will be there, and it's going to be a blast. I can't wait for Charles Howard. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I've got all kinds of stuff. Prior to that, and then after that there's going to be days and days of stuff. Let's see what else we have on here. Do you have any questions, Tom, or anything you would like to talk about or bring up before we get to the end here?
I would like to let everybody know that's listening out there. First, a couple things. Whenever I've noticed, if I've posted some content like in a Santa community or something dealing with bearded, it's almost like people are thinking, oh, they want something, or he wants something, he wants some money, and it has absolutely nothing to do with that. If I post something, or if there's some beard, I'm sitting here looking what Matt says. Matt, if you'll reach out to me, I can't promise you that I've got advice that's going to help you grow a beard, but I can offer you advice that will give it your max potential to be able to grow a beard, right? There's some good products out there now. There's nothing that's a miracle grow that's going to make your beard grow, but it will give you the opportunity to its max potential. But if anybody needs or has any questions about beard health or beard products, or even wants any beard products, by all means, reach out to me, because I will send them to you free of charge, right? Or point you in the right direction if there's I don't have anything, because I have about 400 bottles of beard oil that will never get used, beard butters, good quality beard products from good quality companies. And it can even show you or teach you how to make your own beard oils if you would like, very inexpensively. But what I would like to put out there is guys, as far as the beard health and the beard community goes, it's not, there shouldn't be a fine line. I'm really hoping that the Claws community really comes together and we can kind of work together with getting that training out there about some good beard health, good beard products. So, hey, reach out to me. I got Santas all the time reaching out to me. Some of them that are in here that I sent products to.
Yeah,
I've sent
Bubba,
them.
you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I've sent them enough for 2 or 3 months, and I can send more by all means and put you off in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Patrick. He says, for your family's Christmas tradition, would you open one gift on Christmas Eve and the rest on Christmas Day, or open them all at night? Just curious.
Yeah, just one, just that one. And usually it's pre-planned, right? You don't want to open up the home run right there on Christmas Eve, but yeah, just one, just that gift on Christmas Eve, and just to kind of break that initial maybe desire to go in there, sneak in there, and open up a present or two, right? And hopefully kind of bust that up a little bit.
The same thing we do at this house, but my kids are all grown adults and they all want pajamas that cost a fortune. So that, but okay, we still do it. Okay, Matt says, I enjoy being an elf so much. The way I look at it, Santa see a child for about 5 minutes. I get to entertain them for an hour. They wait in line. So valuable, our elves. So valuable.
That is awesome. I've never worked with an elf, and I would love to. Absolutely love to.
I worked with one in Ohio, and he was in musicals, musical major, theater major. And oh my gosh, was he helpful. He brought things to life that I learned from him. Books, I'd open them up and I would say, Elf Noah, can you make that noise? And he would show the kids what it sounded like on the rooftop, and he'd get them all hitting the floor, stuff like that. And I learned how valuable elves are, other than just crowd control. And, the famous Phineas teaches us that, how important it is too. Okay, John says, my dad was a minister, so we opened presents between evening services because by the time Christmas Day came around, he was tired. Yeah, we get that. So my favorite tradition, I think, is my mom would make all kinds of Christmas candies and just so many. And she would start the beginning of December. And I did it with my kids when they were in school. And my whole counter would just be filled with all kinds. I don't do it anymore because, what do you do with all the food? But that was a cool, always look forward to that as a child. So let's see if we have any.
And that seems like it's getting lost a lot more these days. The grandmas and the great grandmas, they're going, and along with that generation that's leaving us, a lot of those traditions are leaving us. But so many more people would prefer going out to eat during Christmas now more than ever, and it just. That tradition, like you're talking about, those things are just, if it's not up to us to keep them alive,
I know
they won't be around.
Well, I learned that when I work at the bakery every year, because the children their parents can buy a kit, and it's a cookie and a decorating frosting and sprinkles. So I asked them, are you going to be making cookies at home with grandma or mom or whatever? No, this is it. They're one cookie.
Wow.
It's tough. So I really sit and try to make it special for them. But I see a lot of that happening. Santa Allen says, excellent live stream. Thank you so much, Miss Sean and Santa Tom.
I love Santa Allen. He's one that's kind of embraced both communities, right? And he's just so involved in both communities now and just having a great time. And
John says, not just traditions, but the way our families have changed. Yes, that is. And that's something we do have to pay attention to. Betsy and I confer on this all the time because society is changing, and what we do has to really realize that. Matt says, do you do visits on Christmas Eve? With technology the way it is today, a child can get on NORAD and see Santa is on the other side of the world.
Yes, I do. And I have not run into that where they've said, oh, supposed to be over there. Of course, you could always think on your feet and say, well, that's where the magic comes in, and you talk about your sleigh and how it just breaks all physics, science, and so, when you think on your feet, you can come up with something. But yes, I do events on Christmas Eve and did my first Christmas Day event last year. And had a blast.
Really? Did they ask you if you were tired from the night before, or how does that work?
Yes, the parents did. It was about 6 adults and about, I would say, 7 or 8 of the children and grandchildren. So that was the first thing the parents got out of the way as soon as I walked in the door. Okay. Oh, you must be so tired, Yeah, but this is my last stop before I go home for the year. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
Because that has always kind of confused me. I've never went that close to Christmas personally.
Well, and the advice I got from that was I actually reached out last year to Santa Ed, and he said, well, he said, unless you just really want to work on Christmas, you can, on your website, you can price it to where most people probably wouldn't. You'd be surprised how many people still will. And the thing is, I did price it pretty high, but have never charged that much. Not even a quarter of it, because when I went last year, I had so much fun. If they handed me the money, I handed them 3/4 of it back, right, and just said, "You guys have a Merry Christmas," because I had a blast. So
yeah, nice.
And hopefully get a return visit.
Yeah, no kidding. Oliver says, never too late to start a Christmas tradition. True. Matt says, I've done visits on Christmas Eve. I told the family that the boss was busy, so he asked his favorite elf to stop by. Betsy says, thank you, Santa Tom, for the great ideas and insight into what you do.
Yeah, I've got a lot to learn, Betsy, but it's great getting to know all of you, and the people that I've reached out to have been very, very generous in giving their advice. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and being with Ed Taylor and the guys, all the people on there, I love the people on there. When I do my show, I so supportive, the Santas that come to the Mrs. Claus show, and I always look forward to it. Okay, Bill says, I had a family member ask me last Christmas Eve, why are you not in uniform? I
like that. So I'm guessing you weren't in your Christmas outfit. We had a Christmas Eve dinner at my mom's house. I went as Santa Claus, and the kids, my younger grandkids were scared to come to me because even though they could see it's me, it's you're something about that red suit there just kind of stand up. But we got to do pictures with everybody, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah.
How nice. Maybe Angela will run your link on the comments again for people because they want to get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. You reach out to me, Santa Tom TX on Instagram. You can hit me up there if you want to, or on my Facebook page. You can hit me up there. I'm active on Facebook and Instagram. Even comment on one of my videos on Facebook, Santa Tom Smith on YouTube. I mean, there's plenty of them on there. I think I've got close to 800 videos on there now. So comment on one of them and I'll see it pop up.
And subscribe to Santa Tom on YouTube, as well as the Claus Connect, Sean White, the Claus Connect. Please subscribe on there. It helps us both out. We appreciate it. So what keeps you going year after year? We're going to wind this down here. Is it all the positivity coming from this, the Christmas season? What keeps you going?
100%. It's the children. Sean, like I said, just in closing here, I've served in 3 tours of combat, which I don't bring that up a lot, and then also working, seen so much negativity and violence in my life to last me 4 lifetimes. And to have the opportunity to do something like this is absolutely, it has changed my mentality and outlook on life so much. It has made me a different person, because it's made me a different person on camera. When we do our live shows, you know, the joke on our Trace Amigos Thursday night show is, oh, be careful, you can't say that, Santa Tom's watching, you know, which, you know, there's a joke behind there, but there's some truth behind it too, because at least I know that I'm holding myself accountable, and people can see that, so it causes them to hold themselves accountable, right? So it makes me really kind of keep myself in check in a lot of things, because you don't ever know. One of the things Santa Ed always says is you don't ever know who's watching you when you're out in public. Right? That kid that saw you last year may see you in public. I have a neighbor, a little girl that lives across the street, is just convinced that this is my summer home. And every time I walk out that door, she's screaming, "Hey, Santa Tom, hey, Santa Tom." And I got to go talk to her. Right. So, you know, do you always have to stay in character? I'm not saying that. I don't know if that's what I mean, but you definitely have to always watch what you're all about. I'll just leave it at that.
And that's a lot along the line of when you're on stage, the director I've always heard him say that there's always one person looking at you when you're on that stage. So stay in character,
100%.
do what you need to be doing. So same thing. So with that, I'm going to have my final note, which is we do this for the children and for the generations to come after the children. So it's not about us, it's about the children and everything we do and the research and everything to make it better for the kids. So just want to put those words out there, and thank you, Santa Tom, for coming to the show today. You were wonderful, and I appreciate you very much. Your authentic honesty, a wonderful addition to the Claus Connect. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute honor.
I want to thank Angela and TNL Network Productions. All of them are wonderful, and I appreciate every one of them. Please, I'm reminding the audience to follow, share, support. All of us support each other. That's why we're here. We can help each other out, all of us. Subscribe to our YouTubes. It helps a lot. And okay, this is a tease for next week's show. I don't usually put a lot of information out till the last minute for many reasons. Next week's show is going to be about puppets. And it's going to be a fun show, very entertaining. There's going to be some interesting people on here, newbies, as I call them, for the first time with the puppets. And there's going to be some seasoned people. So we're all going to help each other and how this fits into the Claus world and why we're doing it and how to do it and a whole bunch of really valuable information. So please join us next week, next Monday on the Claus Connect. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight and thank you. Thank you, everybody that joined us. And Santa, I'll see you in the green room.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.